wonder what it takes to live a life creatively? So do we. That's why we're here, to find out what clever people do to be successful in the arts. I'm Cecily Korse, and this is the Trailer Talks. We're interviewing artists and musicians, educators and entrepreneurs, at home and on the road. So come on, it's going to be a good trip.
Hey, welcome to the trailer. Come on in.
Today, we're in the trailer with Dennis Keeley, an educator, thought leader, and photographer who lives in Southern California. Here's the rest of his story.
I do this work on the freeway. I photograph from my car while it's in motion.
I'm wondering what the setup is in the car.
Setup is that I have the camera on the passenger seat in traffic as I'm forced to stop sometimes, or I see an opportunity to stop. I will stop and photograph both the architectural moment, which is the thing that's really interesting to me, is that we've built this architecture of motion that never moves, and these cars that are in constant motion, but people never go anywhere. People just go where they go every day. They're not really going any place in particular. They are missing a great opportunity to be thinking about their lives. I see people rushing back and forth, or in a hurry, or impatiently screeching across the freeway. But I find these movements, these relationships between things that move and things that don't move, really fascinating. So that mostly photographing things opposing me in traffic, but also using that time to almost meditate, because when people are all stuck in traffic and doing 40 different things, I'm working. I'm actually in my moment. I'm actually in that place where visually it's stunning. It's kind of a setup. It's a theater. It's a stage, and there's a kind of improv going on that I never tire of. I never get predictable with it. And the way we design cars, we promote these cars to be shown in motion. My favorite commercials are these new commercials that say, done by professional drivers, don't attempt this. But then they do these things with these cars that are breathtakingly beautiful. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you try to do some of those things with your car? It's interesting that people miss the beauty of being in a vehicle that's all set up to be a thing of great, awesome beauty. But they're stuck in traffic. That's if you polled them, they would tell you that they are stuck in traffic.
Of that series, do you have a favorite? Is there?
I have a few favorites, because there's certain environmental combinations that I like. I like being underneath the freeway. I like the overpasses. Mm-hmm. I like the bright sun, and I love the rain. I love when it rains in Southern California. The clouds and the rain really produce a third space that we don't often see. I have probably made 30 or 40,000 of these pictures.
So picking one or two is really hard.
Even picking 100 is hard. I've never photographed the same place twice, and I'm on the same freeway, sometimes even the same time. Mm-hmm. But that sense of time is really interesting.
Do you feel like you're keeping up?
I feel like I'm I feel like I'm more than keeping up because I'm making pictures that people don't understand yet. I'm really okay with making pictures that look different from everybody else's.
So, what is success for you in the future?
Don't have time for success. I have lots of time for failure. I have lots of time for practice. I have lots of time for refinement. Success doesn't last very long. If, if, if success is money, then people with money would be happy. Success for me really would be to build a program for learning that was different every year. That really was much more fluid and mobile and responsive to people's needs, not what the goals are. I taught in India over Christmas this year. Boys and girls 14 to 17, taught them photography, but this program was called Environmental Storytelling Through Photography. So it was really telling their specific stories about their environment. And without any photo background, we put cameras in their hands and they immediately made pictures about their stories, about pollution, about air pollution, water pollution, cultural pollution. They knew their own stories really well. Mm-hmm. The camera was just merely a tool. One of the other teachers I taught with yelled at one of the students for making pictures outside the car. We were in the car going someplace, and he was saying, "Well, don't make pictures out the window; those won't work." I said, "That's what I do for a living. I think those will work just fine." But they responded in a remarkable way. I learned more about how people learn there than I've learned teaching college for the last 20 years. The next generation will not achieve the same kind of success that previous generations have leveraged into the messed up world we have.
So
good for them.
So, in talking to the next generation or anyone who is embarking on a creative life, what's the one piece of advice that you would give them?
Stay loose. Listen to the faraway voice, because it's the loudest voice is probably the more practical voice. The one that's around the corner is probably the one that has the most interesting sort of nuance, and that it's really important for us to really leverage some emphasis behind what's not here right now. I don't want the students I have right now to graduate into employment. The jobs that I see here right now much more mirror an old way of doing everything, doing business, doing making a living, being responsible. There's a lot of things not quite in place yet about online learning, about working at home, about creating a job that you don't need to be there every day for. That I'm hoping students really bring that forward, because I don't think those have really made for a lot of personal growth for our whole society. We pretty much tolerate these things, and I'd like to see students not tolerate the difficult.
I think that's coming.
Not soon enough.
What's the hardest thing that you've had to do in your career?
Hardest thing I've had to do is convince other people to change. That change is a really necessary part of growth, of learning, of converting one kind of energy to another, that no one can change for you, and that institutions have to change teachers have to change, students have to change, parents have to change, and that when it comes right down to the basics of change, nobody wants to change. My changes in career, looking back, um, they all look right. Looks like I did everything right. When I was going through these changes, it was pretty messy. A lot of people helped me through change where I couldn't qualify change for them. I couldn't say, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. I just kept saying I don't like doing what I'm still doing, and I don't know what else to do.
So throughout that process, who's been your biggest supporter?
Me.
That was a peek inside of Dennis Keeley's life and journey. You can find out more about Dennis at his website, denniskeeley.com, or on the Art Center's faculty pages at artcenter.edu. Check out those sites and join us for our next road trip when the trailer talks. I'm Cecily Korst. See you next time.